Hello guys, welcome to the day one of me teaching Russian. I don't know how to teach Russian. I'm just going to learn with you all how to teach Russian. I'm also learning Russian as I speak. I'm quite a bit far than simple letters, but my plan is to just teach every single day for like half an hour or something. It's the day one, so it'll start as one. Obviously, the first ones are characters. Now, as hard Russian is, its characters are sort of easy to read, honestly. If you just put in 5 to 10 days of honest efforts, you can start reading it. And it's one of those language which gets very complicated. It starts as small, easy, simple. For example, these characters are going to be simple, but they have a lot of depth. They have weird pronunciations, stresses, so on and so forth, and they can change on the way that they are read. There are a lot of intricacies as in every single language, but for the day one, you don't have to think about that. Now, there are three types of letters in Russian. Alright? The first one would be the ones which are pronounced exactly ditto copy same. They look like English characters and they sound like English characters. Basically, you can say that they are stolen from English. Not English, Latin. Because English also comes from Latin. So, it is so because Saint Cyril, who made the Russian language, or at least the very primary form of that language, was very inspired, you can say, by Latin. And hence he copied a lot of things. Well, not copied, we can call them inspired, as you like. But, so yeah, the first sort of letters which are like Latin ones, right? They look like Latin, they sound like Latin, and it is a, it is ka, it is ma, it is o, and it is ta, right? T, as in how is it pronounced in English? Ta. Hmm. Now, the second category includes the characters which look like English, but they don't sound like English. They have different pronunciation. A bit deceptive, right? A bit confusing too. It is confusing when you are just learning to read them. I remember just reading these letters which look like English but sound different. For the longest amount of time, I read them as their English equivalent, but then only realized that oh, it is wrong. Because obviously, the first instinct that you're gonna have to when you see this is to read "b" for B for "b," and not "v" or anything. So that's the issue. And the third type of characters which are interesting are the unique to Russian ones, which we will go on tomorrow. They have their different sounds, their different look. But for today, these are just letters which look like English, sound like English. Now, these are letters which look like Latin, yes, but don't sound like Latin, right? They look like Latin. This is supposed to be an I, but they don't. How do you say? How you? Okay, let's make it speaker. But they don't sound like Latin, right? They look like Latin, but they don't sound like Latin. It is V, right? It is V. It is N. I know H made into N. Oh my god, I forgot how to write N. Yeah, it is R. It is pronounced R. It is pronounced S. C is pronounced S. It is pronounced U, and it is pronounced ha. Now it is confusing somewhat, but there are some tricks that you can use to learn these, right? The very first would be just sheer repetition. Just repeat them so many times that they get engraved into your memory. Like now that I've been reading these words for so long, they're just like two parts. One part where my brain knows that I'm reading English, one part where my brain knows that I'm reading Russian. And then now it doesn't get confused and reads this as H instead of N. It just knows that this is N in Russian, just H in English. So first is just practice. Now to get starting in initiation, we can use some tricks, right? Because for example, in this one, C. If you read C, you are gonna read it as sa anyway, right? C sa, very similar, right? And this association is very easy to make. It's like a R without this rolling thing or something like that. Anything that you want to. Basically, it's just like so. Well, okay, we'll get on to that. And it is like also like this line is just made that. You can learn it that way. And X2, if you remember, something like that. You read it as like similar to H, so you can read that. Now again, it is va, na, ra, sa, o, ha. Right? These are words that look like English but don't sound like English. They have their own, not new. These are existing sounds. We'll encounter new sounds in the part where we read letters unique to Russian, right? These are just sounds that are common in between those languages. Okay, this was the theory part. Now let's talk about some concepts, and then we'll get on to practice, right? So I want to have my lessons divided into concepts. First is theory, where we talk about the actual subject, the concept, talking about going into depth of what that thing that we're talking about, right? Talking some weird theories, talking some tricks or things like that, some history, some background, so on and so forth. So it's just not a simple language lesson, but a good one. So, see, sounds are a very important part of a language, right? Because sounds are what makes up a language. And the thing is that many languages lack a lot of sound, right? Every language lacks some sound that the other language has, and that is what makes their pronunciation unique and different. Because if you don't have new sounds, you are just a literal copy paste of other language. We are not talking about these characters. We are talking about the sound they make. Like for example, this makes ha sound, right? So ha is the sound of this character, of this thing. For example, Russian has some new sounds, and it lacks some sound that are in English. For one example, this is called we. Right, this is called we. I don't know if that is visible over there, but okay, this is called we. It is called we. Right, English doesn't have this sound. We'll get on these sounds tomorrow, but these make the language different and sort of hard because you are not used to pronouncing ue or tsa, words like these. So even I struggle with them. So you have to learn them on you, and they really help a lot. The second thing that I want to talk about is association. Now, a language learning is a very associative game rather than logical game. For the most part, you are not going to get logic for why things are the way they are because there is not going to be a logic in everything. For example, you cannot ask for logic of why this is pronounced as ha and not something other because languages are created by humans for humans, and it's not a science that can be proven wrong or right per se. Anything that can and is adopted by humans just becomes the general lingo, and people just start using it without asking for any logic. So if you're learning that thing which has is turned out of illogic, you cannot ask for logic. So these type of stupid associations, for example, learning this by learning that the R without that sticky part is going to be an imperative part in our language learning process because you do have to make a lot of associations, otherwise where are you going to search for all the logics? I wish it was some sort of science, but Okay. Now let us practice like reading some things, right? I didn't really make a list of words to read because I just wanted to get this out to not procrastinate. But from tomorrow I'll make it better. I would eventually make it a lot better. Today is just day one since I got this new camera. I'm so happy that I can make this video first of all. And anyways, we'll just okay. What is this written? This is verb no, warm, right? Alright. Um, what is this written? This is ka ota, kot, kot, kot. It is not. See, we are not talking about. We are talking about the pronunciations, right? What do you read when you read this in English? You read this ta, right? Sort of similar to ta, but ta, right? So it's like kot. Okay, I know I cannot really remember a lot of words because I'm also beginner, so I'll just write random words, alright, and we'll try to pronounce them. What is this pronounced? It is va u now sub. Wounds. I mean, if that is even a real, which is not. So, we got this. These are words which sound like English and look like English, and these are characters. I'm sorry for calling them words. Words are like entire thing, while characters are just like the individual ones. So I really get a lot confused in between them. So yeah, these are just characters which look like English but don't sound like them. Va, na, ra, sa, u. This is it. This is it. I'll get back. I'll get back with better preparation tomorrow. I'll just make this better. Thank you.